It's day 2 of the sentencing hearing in the Humboldt Broncos bus crash. The truck driver who caused the deadly accident is facing survivors and the families of the 16 people killed and 13 injured last April. Jaskirat Singh Sidhu pleaded guilty to multiple counts of dangerous driving causing death and bodily harm. The CBC's Karen Pauls is inside the Melfort, Saskatchewan gym where the hearing is being held. And so, Karen, how are things going today?
You know, the day started with a really powerful statement, victim impact statement by Christina Hogan. She's the wife of the former head coach of the Broncos, Darcy Hogan, who passed in that crash. She described the devastating loss of a husband, of a father, their 2 young boys, of the head wage earner in the family. They both actually worked for the Broncos. She said that what Jaskirat Singh Sidhu did was negligent and reckless. She said that morning, that day, he had a weapon in his hands and he could have controlled his actions, but he didn't. She said no sentence will ever account for what he did. But then she made a really remarkable statement. She said Darcy was a man who would never hold a grudge. He was a man of faith and he would have wanted her to forgive him. So she looked at Sidhu and said, I want to tell you, I forgive you. I've been forgiven for when I didn't deserve it, and I will do the same. Really powerful moment at that point. We're also hearing from some of the Billet families who had connections with many of the players, a lot of them described as their second adopted sons. We heard from the Billet dad of goalie Parker Tobin, who is a pastor himself, and he asked for leniency for Sidhu. He said his life should not be ruined forever for his mistake. That would make him the 30th victim of this tragedy. Sidhu is sitting there listening to all of this, sitting up straight, staring straight ahead, staring at his hands. His supporters are sitting behind him, and the whole gymnasium has been very emotional this morning.
And there was a report that stated Sidhu had violated dozens of government regulations prior to the crash. So what can you tell us about those findings?
Right, so it's about 70 violations of provincial and federal trucking regulations, and most of this is sort of technical, logging omissions. Maybe he didn't state when he started his day or ended his day, when he took a break, whether there were any problems with the vehicle. There are some missing days in the logbook. There's also unaccounted for 32 kilometers the day of the crash. And there was also a note that he took a break halfway through the day just before the crash happened, which is a little unusual. Now, we're not going to get a lot of answers in terms of what actually happened that day because there is no trial. The report did note, though, that if inspectors had inspected him and stopped him that day and noted these problems, they wouldn't have let him on the road. They would have suspended him for about 72 hours. We asked the Crown about this, and Thomas Healy wouldn't say any more about this or what kind of sentence he's recommending for Mr. Sidhu. Here's some of what he said.
The Crown is pleased that there are 29 guilty pleas that have been entered before the court. We're pleased that this matter is moving forward toward the sentencing stage. We're looking forward to this matter being concluded. I'd also like to thank the survivors, families, and their friends for their patience while this matter was being investigated and while the matter has been before the courts. We understand it takes some time, and we appreciate everyone's patience.
Now, we're still expecting to hear about 20 more victim impact statements. That could be done by the end of the day. In total, about 75 have been submitted to the court. We don't know when the judge will actually provide her sentence. It could be by the end of the week. The hearing has been scheduled for 3 to 5 days, so that could take place sometime this week, or she may wait a few more days. Andrew?
Karen, thank you. The CBC's Karen Pauls in Melfort, Saskatchewan.